Run.
Dave said in commentary there, that result throws Group C wide open. Napoli top the group now on 4 points. Liverpool second on the head-to-head ahead of PSG, and Red Star bottom with 1 point. That's the first reaction we've heard from Jurgen Klopp. Graham, you watched that game live on Virgin Media Sport with us. Is that a fair summation? Not calm with the ball, the gap in defence for the goal, and Napoli deserve to win.
Yeah. Liverpool played second fiddle throughout tonight, you know, to a very energetic Napoli team. Not just energetic, with real quality as well. And they did to Liverpool in midfield what Liverpool normally do to other teams, which is just outwork them. They never give Liverpool a minute on the ball. The front three of Liverpool didn't seem to have any quality into them. And when they did get it, they were out-muscled. They were. You know, you think Mane would get in a race with anyone and win it. He didn't tonight. Salah never showed any of his strength inside the box. You know, normally, although he's only small, he can shield the ball and get shots off. He didn't do any of that. Firmino, there was no clever passing from him. But I think the problems really started in midfield, where I just felt Napoli dominated in there. And if you're constantly second to the ball there, you're never going to be on the front foot. And for the vast majority of the game, you know, Napoli seemed to be the more aggressive, the more energetic, up the field, cuter, clever passes.
So they hit Liverpool in their strongest aspects of
their
their
work
work
better.
rate.
Liverpool doing what Liverpool do to teams normally.
And yet, we get to the 90th minute and it looks like Liverpool are escaping with a very precious point based on what we've seen.
That would have been very kind of them.
So what happened?
Well, Robertson moves out to the left-hand side on the touchline. Gets 1-2 there. Van Dijk's there. The boy plays a great first-time ball back into the space. And Robertson's second in the race. And then Insigne, who I think, when this ball squared, I think it's gone past them. But that ball's fired in perfectly. That's to go to ground to make a connection with it. And Alisson he's passed out of it, isn't he? And it's nothing more than Napoli deserved. They were the better team throughout. And this is a reminder for Liverpool. If they had started to believe they were the real deal, this is a reminder they're not.
When he referenced the problems in the formation, is he on about the fact that Napoli got at them in so many different ways, especially down that left-hand side? Alisson had to pull out a lot of brilliant saves. They didn't manage a shot on target themselves. And so many levels just seemed to misfunction tonight.
Yeah, they were just, as I said, Liverpool normally steamroll teams. You know, they just have too much energy. They get after you, they get a goal, they get you on the back foot, get another goal and the game's over. Well, tonight, you know, I just felt that what they normally do to teams was done to them tonight, and they just couldn't stand up to that challenge. You know, and you're looking for some period, you're thinking the pace of Napoli will drop, the intensity will drop, and Liverpool will get their passing game going, the front three will then be brought into it, and they'll start to create things. And that never happened. There was a period maybe after an hour, you think it's happening, and then Napoli made some changes, some subs, and they got the momentum back again.
And this just mentioned there, the amount of attacks that Rui, the left-back, was able to get on the left-hand side. Was Trent Alexander-Arnold incredibly exposed tonight?
Yeah, that was a big learning curve for him tonight. You know, James Milner was on that side, so you think that's going to help him, but they ended up having to take James Milner off, put Henderson out there and Fabinho in the centre of midfield. But time and time again, they were getting down this left-hand side, Liverpool's right, and getting crosses in. I mean, this is a clearance off the line from Joe Gomez. We see, again, from this left-hand side, one where Liverpool get really lucky, where it comes off the crossbar eventually after that's a shin, that's not a foot on the ball. But Liverpool get lucky. And as you said already, Alisson made some really good saves tonight. This is the first time I had a chance to see Alisson worked. And he stood up to it.
My goodness, he worked tonight.
He stood up to it. He got lucky there. But for me, it's a wake-up call for Liverpool. It's a reminder that they ain't the finished article, and there's still work to be done.
One of the questions, Brian, maybe you can jump in on this one, because it's kind of been it was in the build-up to this game about Mo Salah, for one, in terms of the front players. A lot of Liverpool fans asking tonight, why were changes made earlier? You know, Mo Salah, this sort of stuff was going in. You know, he was creating chances out of situations like this. Does Klopp need to treat Salah as somebody who's not untouchable at this stage?
Well, I think he's shown that already, that he sees them as not untouchable. He's taken them off in game. He took them off at the weekend and they got the equaliser. He's used the squad a little bit. Sturridge has come on. Sturridge has started games. So I think by substituting him a couple of times already, he's shown that he's not untouchable. But I think his form is a little bit short of the brilliance he showed last year. But it was unlikely. I think Graham has said this before. He's unlikely to score 40 goals again this season.
That was kind of not a flash in the pan, but
he's still not done. He's not done too bad so far this season. Not seeing it tonight. I watched the Chelsea game at the weekend, and I thought he was a little bit off.
Yeah. OK, it's let's talk about the PSG game, by the way, lads. Talk about bouncing back, a 6-1 win over Red Star Belgrade, a team who you said were incredibly poor. To be kind to them. What about Neymar's performance tonight?
Well, he started the game in a frustrating manner because he kept giving the ball away for no reason at all. Again, ended up on the ground several times unnecessarily, and then he does that. I think the goalkeeper has a bit to answer for here. His starting position, you know, that is a saving height. If he had been one step to his right before the kick's taken, he gets that. But I mean, after that, the floodgates opened, and it was just a matter of time before more goals. Neymar again plays a 1-2, and Mbappe actually plays a poor ball into him. He chops it back into him. Neymar again, another free kick. I think this one is unstoppable, but I mean, that's top corner, going outside the post, then drifting back in. That is unstoppable. But Red Star were so poor.
That's not the kind of match where we test PSG's credentials.
No. Yeah, I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking Liverpool will be all right tonight because Napoli only got a 0-0 draw there. So you're thinking, Red Star so poor, Napoli can't be that good, but it just shows you there's no logic attached to football at times, Tom.
Liverpool sit in second, PSG behind us. We're only ahead of them on the better head-to-head record. John Aldridge and Phil Babb, my guests in the studio. Phil, there's no kind of dressing it up. It was a disappointing performance. Take the result out of it. Disappointing performance overall from Liverpool tonight.
It was un-Liverpool-like under the Klopp regime. We've just been talking there. Normally we're used to high octane, high pressing, even home and away, and I didn't see that. You know, the main protagonist is Roberto Firmino in that. He sets the tempo, and he was flat. It looked as if he was told not to press high up, almost let them have the ball at times, and then when they did, they were hurting us by just spinning it in behind us and having willing runners. There were just too many flat performances by so many individuals tonight. It was disappointing, I'm afraid.
Overall, it was a game of a few chances for both teams. There wasn't a lot happening, but in the last 20 minutes, Napoli did get in behind quite a lot, and in some ways you can't really argue against the goal they scored, and it looked like it was perhaps coming.
I think if you look at the game over the 90 minutes or so, they put an awful lot of balls in behind our full-backs, in between the centre-backs and the full-backs. A lot. And only that the back four defended as a line brilliantly. We were in trouble there. You know, there was no real protection, whereas might come from what Phil just said. We were high pressing. They had too much time on the ball. In their back, their midfield, we weren't at it all over the park. And without the performances of the goalkeeper, I thought it was brilliant tonight. You know, the Robinson, Van Dijk and Gomez, we just struggled badly there. To come out of that 1-0, I think we're a little bit fortunate. You know, we didn't create. Their goalkeeper had not a save to make. How many occasions did we have in the box? Very few. It was just not Liverpool. You know, the front three, flat as a fluke. For whatever reason, just nothing from them, you know. They didn't get in behind any times, didn't threaten. I don't think any of the front three had an actual shot on target, which tells you something. A long time since that's happened for Liverpool, when them three played together, if any time at all.
Yeah, goals have been a hallmark of this team, especially in Europe of late. We spoke pre-match today's game about the records, 2 goals every game for the last something like 10 games or something. In terms of why it wasn't there, what do you put that down to? We do expect intensity, drive from this side, and maybe it did fall a little bit flat this evening.
Do you want me to make excuses?
Well,
a big pitch, partisan crowd. Pitch. I mean, I've been at Anfield, and the playing surface is immaculate. It's got to be one of the best in the Premier League. And I'm not saying, but the modern day players are very precious animal now, you know, and if it's not pristine and there's a few bubbles and you slip in, you know, it can affect them mentally. I'm sad to say that, but it does happen. So you could say the pitch, it was raining, you know. Mo Salah's not been playing well, and he's been our talisman. If he's not playing well, is it starting to rub off? There's a multitude of different answers or excuses you can make, but ultimately, apart from... This is the thing, and I agree with Aldo here. How often have we really praised our defensive unit? How often have they been the better unit in a Liverpool side? We've waxed lyrical about the front three for a couple of seasons. Even when Coutinho was there. Now we've had to rely on our five-back players. Our back four and our goalkeeper were superb, and I agree with John. They've kept us in. He's just told me he's seen a replay that Alisson actually tipped Merton's chance onto the bar. I thought it was a miss, but if that's a save, that's one of the best saves you'll ever see.
You're saying, you know, Phil's saying, John, that the front group didn't perform tonight, but is there an argument to say that they haven't quite clicked across the season yet, despite the strong start we've seen none of that kind of cavalier, gung-ho attacking, fantastic play from last year, really?
Absolutely. It's simple, they haven't. Fits and starts to show it, but from last year...